I've been very fortunate, as I said, to have attended events previously, and it is a great delight to look around the room today and see so many familiar faces. And I know that it's going to be a great event. We've got great panellists here. Well, we've got Bart as well, but that's right, I've known Bart for a long time. So I welcome the other panellists that are going to be here with you, and I look forward to your valuable insights. Those of you who don't know my background, thank you for giving a bit of an introduction. I was the Chief Executive of SIT for 23 years. And during that time, I was fortunate to travel to India on several occasions, visiting tertiary institutions from the far north right down to the south, speaking at conferences and recruiting students. And India is a very special country, and despite the vast differences in geography and population size, there's also a great deal of goodwill and friendship between our two countries. As Chief Executive, I have seen firsthand how tertiary education helps people improve their lives, the lives of those around them, and the prosperity of communities. And I've witnessed on numerous occasions the benefits of international students studying in New Zealand. So this afternoon I'm going to take this opportunity to give you some insights into the government's priorities so that you have some more certainty about our strategic direction. I do have to tell you though, it's about a few weeks too early for me to be able to tell you too much detail around Te Pukenga. If you were hoping for that, I'm sorry. But I'm going to highlight the many opportunities that we have to strengthen the flourishing partnership in tertiary education between India and New Zealand, and the vision that I have for the future pathways. As many of you are aware, the tertiary sector is a key contributor to New Zealand's economic performance, our ability to grow and innovate and to achieve better social outcomes. A high-performing tertiary sector is also a vital part of the government's plan to rebuild the economy, and we really must rebuild it. And it's only through a strong economy that we can reduce inflation, lift incomes, and afford the quality public services that we want and deserve. So New Zealanders, I think, have got a growing understanding of the economic and social benefits of international students. This was reflected in a survey done in December last year by Ipsos, which showed 75% of New Zealanders believe that overseas students benefit New Zealand. And this is up from 47% in 2019, and I do think COVID brought about that greater awareness of the value, not just the financial value, but the social value of having international students here. It's also an opportunity for me to mention the work of Education New Zealand, or ENZ, the government agency dedicated to helping New Zealand realise the social, cultural and economic benefits of international education. The recent Education New Zealand International Education Strategy aims to enable a thriving and globally connected New Zealand through world-class international education. And I'm delighted to say that with the increase in the numbers of overseas students, we're on track to deliver on that strategy. There have been 59,306 international student enrolments from January to August last year, a 43% increase compared to the full year in 2022. But we've still got a very long way to go we're still behind our pre-COVID numbers, although I was delighted to hear that AIS is getting much further up than many are. But we really do need to increase our efforts to recruit international students back to New Zealand, and thankfully our Aussie neighbours are helping us a bit with that at the moment. So an increase in the number of international students from all over the world is positive, as it brings in vital revenue for institutions in the country, but it also has that spin-off of creating that wonderful cosmopolitan element to campus life. More importantly, relationships are established that are so important to our long-term trade endeavours, as many international graduates eventually do go back to their home country and often take up key leadership roles in both business and government. And New Zealand is a very small country, And so for many of our domestic students, rubbing shoulders with people from other cultures gives them a greater understanding of issues that we're facing in our complex world. In this time of fragile geopolitics, the melting pot of campus life can help build greater understanding and tolerance. And in turn, our Kiwi students can also be champions for our own country as they share their knowledge, experience and friendship with overseas students. The quality education that our institutions provide also enhances our global society by upskilling and educating all students to take on international work opportunities, which inevitably spreads New Zealand's values and influences throughout our world. Though geographically distant, India and New Zealand are united by a rich tapestry of cultural connections, mutual respect, and a shared commitment to progress and prosperity. India is a critical and multi-sectored market for New Zealand international industry across schools, polytechnics, universities, and private providers. It continues to play a significant role in New Zealand's international education sector, with Indian students accounting for the second largest group of students studying in New Zealand. With a rapidly growing middle class and the quality of Indian education ever improving, India's focus is shifting. It's shifting from sending students offshore to study to also developing strong relationships and policy to enhance the delivery of education and research from within India. India's National Education Policy 2020 makes it clear that developing new and nurturing current bilateral relationships will be paramount to ensuring that both our countries realise our shared goals. For New Zealand, this means that collaboration across government and the sector will be the key to long-term success in India. Collaborating for mutual benefit for India and New Zealand is important to growing a trusted, strategic and reciprocal education relationship. Over the next few years, as the education sector grows stronger, I see New Zealand and India's thriving education partnership playing a bigger role in this success story. And there's a number of exciting collaborations underway that I'd like to highlight. The Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, IIT Delhi, Education New Zealand recently supported an inbound delegation from the IIT Delhi in April and May, and IIT Delhi hosts the New Zealand Centre, which was inaugurated at IIT Delhi in February 2020. The New Zealand Centre promotes joint research between New Zealand universities and IIT Delhi in areas of research that's important to both our countries. During the delegates' time in New Zealand, they met with government agencies, the Ministry for Primary Industries, Education New Zealand, Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade, the Indian High Commissioner, and all 8 New Zealand universities to discuss how we further develop our partnership. This is a really great example of the way the Government of India and New Zealand can work alongside the education sector to realise great outcomes for both nations. The New Zealand Excellence Awards, collaborating for mutual benefit, is important to growing a trusted, strategic and reciprocal education relationship with India, and last year Education New Zealand relaunched the New Zealand Excellence Awards, a dedicated scholarship program for India. The scholarships are jointly funded by Education New Zealand and all 8 universities, and they've enabled more than 200 Indian students to come study at New Zealand's universities since it was first launched in 2016. And this is a further example of our work to create those incentives for students from India to come to New Zealand. The Prime Minister's Scholarship for Asia supports New Zealanders in groups or individually to visit India for study and internships, and this program allows New Zealanders to develop intercultural competencies and employability skills, as well as developing connections in academia or business. And since 2013, India has received 330 New Zealand students under the Prime Minister's Scholarships for Asia, representing the second largest cohort through this program. The New Zealand International Education Conference, Country of Honour, India will feature as the Country of Honour for the upcoming 2024 New Zealand International Education Conference from 6 to 8 August. The Country of Honour designation celebrates New Zealand's international education connections with partner countries and reflects one of the conference's key values, connections. This is a valuable opportunity to foster connections and share best practice. And finally, later this year, New Zealand intends to refresh its education cooperation arrangement with India in 2024 and welcomes engagement at ministerial, official and sector level to grow our education cooperation and international education market with India. In every successful partnership, leadership plays a pivotal role, and the leaders and visionaries that are present here today are a driving force behind the India-New Zealand relationship, and your dedication, your insight and hard work have paved the way for our mutual achievements. And so we look to the future. Let us continue to lead with integrity, innovation and that spirit of collaboration. Thank you for all being here, for your contributions that you make, and for your unwavering commitment to that partnership between India and New Zealand. Together we can build a future defined by collaboration, innovation and sustainable growth. Thank you.